Come on, you give George his breakfast back. Yeah, that's a good George. You already had yours, Missy. George is late. Yeah. Good girl, Miss Bean. A little backstory on our feral friends here. Hi, Miss Beanie. So Beanie's name, technically in French, it's Binne, which is blessed. And we gave her that name because whenever she first started coming around, there obviously were two cats, and we didn't realize it because they looked so much alike. We thought there was one initially. And blessed is kind of something we decided on just because she was feral, and we were able to kind of save her and give her some shelter and food and all of that. And then we soon discovered that we had two of the kitties, not just one. And at the time, we had no idea what their genders were. They were very feral. It took a lot of breaking them down to get them where they are now. And now we know that Mr. George here is a boy and Beanie is a girl. But we didn't know at the time. And so we were trying to come up with a name for Mr. George here that could be gender neutral. And the reason that I chose George was for George Eliot, who was a female author in, I believe it was the 19th century. I will double check that and confirm whether that's true or not. But anyway, she was actually a female author, but she used a male pen name. And I thought it would be cute to use George. That way, whether he turned out to be a girl or a boy, we had a name with a reason, because I love classic literature. For that name for him. And then of course, as they got bigger and then Beanie ended up pregnant, we figured out that he was a boy, she was a girl. And Beanie, we were able to TNR, which is trap, neuter, return. We had gotten her desensitized enough that we could coax her into a little cat carrier. And we were able to get her to the one and only vet in town that seems to actually do feral spays and neuters. So we got her taken care of. George is still uncut. He's just recently started letting me pet him, and he'll only do it if he's eating, or he'll come up to me. He really seems to like me and wants to be around me. And he doesn't run off like he used to. But if I go like towards his face and he can see my hand coming, he still does not want me to pet him, and he'll back away or even swat at me. But if he kind of has his head turned and I'm able to start scratching the back of his head without him seeing my hand coming, then he loves it and he arches up into it and even purrs now. So huge, huge feat for him, because that's just been a recent development in the last couple of weeks. He really did not tolerate being touched. The only time he would tolerate being touched is if he was eating his wet food, and that was it. So making lots of progress with our feral babies. We were actually concerned initially when we found out that Beanie was pregnant that George might have fathered some of the kittens, because they're obviously brother and sister. I mean, they look exactly alike, and they were still they were kittens, but they were large kittens. They were like 8 to 10 months old whenever we first found them, and started coaxing them in and feeding them. But it definitely turned out that none of them were George's, because there were 5 kittens. We did end up losing one pretty early on. So there were 4, that we kept. Well, we didn't keep them for the long haul, but kept them until they were big enough to be given away, except Emily and Jean-Luc. Michael kept Jean-Luc, I kept Emily, but we had 2 others. His brother took one, and then a woman that I work with, her daughter, took the last one. But none of them had long hair. They were all tiger striped. Only one of the kittens even had white on him like Beanie does. He had a little bit on his face, and then his paws were white, and that was the one that my coworker's daughter took. But Emily and Richard were both gray striped. And then Jean-Luc obviously is brown and black striped, so they have different dads. Jean-Luc's dad we see running around here a lot. He's a pretty beefy looking cat with black and brown stripes. So, and then there's another one that was a gray and black striped cat that we used to see running around a lot, but I haven't seen in a while. And I'm pretty sure that's the one that fathered the other 3. But that is the story on the kitty cats. I bought my very first pour-over coffee maker with a stainless steel drip basket so that I could get away from using these disposable single-use paper coffee filters. Now, eventually, that drip basket broke, and so I bought a replacement, and the replacement turned out to be terrible. It was a super, super slow drip, and it would get clogged even and stop dripping altogether. And then eventually that carafe broke, so I ran to Target and picked up this one. And this one came with a mesh basket that had a black plastic frame. And I'm trying really hard to stay away from plastic, but especially black plastic. It is one of the worst, so pouring boiling water over it is definitely not ideal. And I do still have that replacement stainless steel drip basket, but again, it was painfully slow. So I finally decided to switch back to the ceramic one that I have for the cabin at the farm and switch back to the paper filters. And I'm so glad that I did, because as much as I don't want to have to use single-use paper filters, it is finally clear, there is no silt in the coffee, and it is saving me from pouring boiling water over the black plastic. So, new setup is complete. Hi, let's do our meal plan for next week. I am going to do a black bean soup, and I actually already bought the ingredients to do this as kind of a backup recipe, and I completely forgot about it. So I am officially putting it on the meal plan now so that I will get this done. But as always, I will have this in PDF format on my blog. So if you want to hop over there and download this, it's going to be a pretty simple soup. You just throw a bunch of stuff in a pot and then blend it with an immersion blender, or you can dump it into a blender, but I like the immersion blenders better because it's easier and a lot less messy. But that is really all there is to it. I have some sourdough bread. I will toast some of that and eat with it, and it should be delicious. So thank you for sticking with me. I know this vlog has been a short one. It has been definitely a very trying week. I have been spending most of my time focused on the house project, and that is mainly because I'm currently in a battle with my mortgage company. I have Truist. I am definitely not hesitant at all to publicly shame them because this has been an absolute nightmare dealing with them because my insurance funds, since they, have a mortgage with them, so my insurance funds have my name and their name on the checks. And so they come to me, I sign it, overnight it to them, and then they put it into an escrow account. And then they send out money based on what they think that I need rather than what I actually need in order to pay contractors. And it's not enough. So the situation that I'm in, my roofing contractor. So remember, I had my entire top half of my house had to be replaced. So it wasn't just a new roof. It was trusses, roof, fascia, soffit, gutter, like all of that stuff had to be replaced. And the original bid was $43,000. I paid him 50% down to get started. When he was doing the work, he also had to do some framing, and that added another $2,500 to the bill. So it was $46,000 and some change total. So I still owe him $24,000. Plus, he's going to do my siding as well, and I need to pay him about $2,700 for the 50% deposit in order for him to order my siding. He won't order the siding until he is paid for the job that is complete, and it's been complete for a month. However, the policy that this bank has is that they will send out an inspector and inspect to make sure, whatever has been done. And then based on that report, they decide how much of the project is complete. Well, the report came back that 30% of the project was complete. That's probably somewhat accurate. It might be closer to 50, honestly, because it was a huge overtaking on the outside of the house. Because there was brickwork that had to be done as well, and that mason has been paid for because his part was obviously a lot smaller. The window has been ordered and paid for, so all of that stuff is taken care of, but there wasn't really any inside work starting yet besides demo. So they came back and said 30% of the project was complete. So the policy that this bank has is that they will release whatever that percentage is of what's in your escrow. So they released 30% of the funds that were remaining in my escrow. And so initially, the first check that came to me from the insurance company was for the depreciated value. And then they sent me, so that was $86,000. They sent me 40 so that I could get all of the deposits paid and everything up front for the people that I needed to get things moving. So I have about 1,600 of that left, and that's it. And so when that inspection was complete and they sent that report in, they issued me a check for $14,000, but I owe my contractor for the roof alone $24,000 plus another almost $3,000 to order the siding. So I need $27,000 to pay him, and they sent me 14. And so as soon as I saw the amount of the check that they cut, I called them immediately and said, hey, this isn't going to work. And so they put in a special request to have the remaining funds in my escrow account released. And supposedly they expedited it. They were putting a rush on it. But it takes 7 to 10 business days to go through review. And at the end of business day 10, I still hadn't heard anything. That was Tuesday. So I called them yesterday and they said, oh, well, they weren't able to make a decision. So it got bumped up to tier 2. Okay, so how long is that going to take? Another 7 to 10 business days. And I was like, how long do you think these contractors are going to wait to receive payment before they put a mechanics lien on the house and jeopardize your lien position? Because it's been a month since he finished the job and I haven't been able to pay him, and he's understandably frustrated. But I was able to upload for them because he sent me an updated invoice showing the amount that was paid and the balance due. I was able to upload that for them. So they have that and they can see how much I owe him. They also have the siding estimate so they can see how much he needs as a down payment. They have all of this information, and yet they weren't able to make a decision. So I have been fighting with them literally almost daily. I have been on the phone with them. And yesterday they finally approved having a manager or a supervisor call me, because none of the people I talk to can make any decisions. They're just agents of the company and they won't let you talk to anybody else. And so that person, they said it'll take 2 business days to get a call back. So that person should be calling me tomorrow. But in the meantime, I let my agent know what's going on, and he called them Monday. They told him they'd have a decision by the end of Tuesday, which of course they didn't. And he said if we haven't heard anything by Friday, tomorrow, to let him know, and he's going to do something. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to get involved in it too. So it looks like that's going to be the case. Since then, my insurance company has issued me 2 new checks. One they received last week for another $22,000, and then there's another one for like 13 something that is coming that I should have next week. And then I have to send that to the bank. So they're going to have all these funds in my escrow account and still won't send me anything. And every time they send me a check, they also send me an updated adjuster's worksheet with updated amounts of what each thing has cost and what has been completed and what is still yet to come. And the funny thing is, ever since I put in a special request to have the rest of the funds released, every time I upload one of those documents, it magically disappears. It shows that it's in progress. I was on the phone with an agent when I uploaded the first one, and she confirmed that she saw it and that it was there, but the next day it was gone. The other things, like the contractor's bids and stuff that I uploaded, they were there, but the adjuster's worksheets weren't. And so I uploaded them again. And again, the next day they were gone. So yesterday, whenever I talked to someone, they were gone again, and I told her what was going on. So now that the iPhones have the ability to record phone calls, I've recorded the last 2 phone calls. And she, while I was on the phone with her, confirmed that she did see it uploaded. It was there. And then today, whenever I checked, it was gone yet again. So now I uploaded both of those invoices, or well, not invoices, adjuster worksheets. I uploaded both of them 3 times each this morning. So, and I took a picture showing on the screen the date stamp that says in progress, of showing that they're there. So I'm documenting all of this just in case we need it. But I just think it is very convenient that the most important documents that coincide with these checks, that actually show how much that check is for and who it's going to and who has been paid for what, is the document that just keeps disappearing. And the woman says, oh, well, yeah, that happens a lot. I don't know what's going on with our system. It's been every time I have uploaded one since that dispute started, they have just magically disappeared. So that is where I'm at. That's where my attention has been this week. And that's why I haven't had a lot to film, because I have literally just been in a battle with my mortgage company. So thank you for sticking around this long if you're still here with me. And just keep your fingers crossed for me that something happens next week, especially since my insurance agent now is going to get involved in all of this. I'm also fighting with the tree guy. It's been 2 months since he's been paid. He has not come back to do the stump removal. This week, he's not even responding to me. So I've also asked my adjuster what we can do about that, because he's already received insurance money. So is that insurance fraud? Is there any kind of action we can take? I don't know. But yeah, there have been a lot of headaches with this process. So fingers crossed that next week will be a better week and we will have some better news. But thank you for sticking around, and I will see you in the next vlog.